Hey guys, welcome back to another video. In this video, I'll be talking about inflation and interest rates, and I'll add a little bit of my own opinion at the back of the video to make the video a bit more different than what I usually do. And of course, this is a very important topic which I say all the time because this will affect your wallet, our wallet, in a large way, and knowing what the Fed would do will also cause the economy, the market to react in a certain way. So it's better to know before time. Okay, and now my first point, which is the Federal Reserve's interest rates. So before I get into the video, I'm going to tell you guys about these simple things that you need to know before I get into my points, which I just repeat a lot. But the interest rates right now is at 5.5%. And initially, the plan of the Federal Reserve is to lower it to 4.75% by the end of this year, which also means 3 cuts this year in 3 different meetings, every time by 0.25%, and by the end of the year, the target is 4.5% interest rates. But here's the thing, it's already in April, but we still haven't had a single cut, and no situation has given any sort of motivation for that. And the worst thing is that in the next 2 months, there is absolutely, in my opinion, guaranteed to have no cuts because of the situation and the data that was given. So that's the situation. And now to my second point, which is inflation and labor market. So, like I said, the Federal Reserve is unable to decrease interest rates. But why? So the reason why the Federal Reserve was not able to decrease interest rates up at this point or in the next 2 months, perhaps 3, 4, and by the end of the year, they can't decrease interest rates is because in this year, inflation has started reaccelerating. So initially, last year, inflation dropped very fast, very fast from 9% all the way down to 4 to 3%, depending on which one you're looking at, CPI or PCE. One is headline inflation, one is core inflation. I'm not going to tell you how it's measured because it will take a little bit longer time. But right now, in this year, in January, headline inflation has went up consistently, and core inflation has been sticky. So in January, headline inflation went from 3.1%, and then February is 3.2%, and for March, it went up to 3.4%. So 3.4% is a significant jump. So if you think about it, 5.5% interest rates was increased to cause it to drop from 9% to 3%. But now, what the initial way to actually make inflation come down is to increase interest rates to a certain point where people feel impact. So when they feel impact by high interest, they'll have less spending, right? But here's the thing, 5.5% is now not enough to let the economy feel enough impact to the point where people will stop spending. People are actually starting to adapt, which is a bad thing for inflation. And next is labor market. The unemployment rate has been at historically low, which is at 3.8%. 3.8% may seem like a small number, but it's actually very large for unemployment rates. Next is the employment rate, not employment rate, but the amount of employment that has increased in March was 303,000 jobs, and 303,000 jobs is a lot. And in the past year, it has been consistently above 100,000. And to put it in context, above 100,000 is a lot. So 303,000 jobs is a lot, and it's increasing. So because of this, the Fed doesn't have any justification to decrease rates. Decreasing rates in this kind of situation where the economy is doing well will just make the people see the Fed and think they did something stupid. So they do want to cut rates, but maybe it would be postponed. And then my third point, which is additional information. So what I'm about to say right now might not be additional information, but it's pretty obvious that the inflation and interest rates will clearly affect the poor more than the rich. In any economic situation, it would be that way. But what I can say is that it's important for the poor people to know what's about to happen so they can navigate better than the rich people. I know it's going to be hard because clearly the rich people will get the information first, they have insights, but that's the thing. That's why you have to research more, you know? No, try to get to know more and try to do more. And the second thing is, why is the May and June meeting so important? It's very important because it it would decide the forecast and the decision that will be made by the Federal Reserve. So in the past 3 months, actually, the Federal Reserve has shown no signs of doubting their actions to cut interest rates this year. Until this month, they have shown doubts, which would be very important because if they were to change their thoughts about this situation where inflation is increasing, they might go and change their plan to not even decrease rates or perhaps even increase interest rates because inflation is rising. And increasing interest rates in the right amount would be quite a rational choice because remaining high, clearly this rates is not really helping anymore. So if you were to increase rates, then maybe you will put more pressure and it will come down. That's why this May and June meeting is pretty important to know what the Fed is currently thinking about and how the data looks like. And then my fourth point, which is impact of high inflation. So the impact of high inflation are normally more on the lower class or the middle class family. And many people are saying, in fact, that the middle class families are starting to disappear, which is a really bad news because half of it is going to be rich and half of it is going to be poor. In fact, probably 30% of it is going to be rich and 70% is going to be poor. People are saying this because government are starting to print more money. And if you think about it, rich people used to have a portion of it. But if you split one portion of something into more pieces, and rich are already good at taking a large portion of little bigger pieces, then if you split it into small pieces, then wouldn't they be able to take more small pieces, which is basically the US dollars, which is why people are saying that the middle class are disappearing. But putting that aside, high inflation will affect middle class and lower class families because they will have to cut on basic necessities that they have to spend on, which is basically like food, gas, and rent, and so on. And they won't even have any extra money for buying any other things. And if you think about it, if your child have a birthday party coming on, or your wife have your anniversary, Mother's Day, but you just can't afford it because of inflation, it's honestly really painful if you think about it, and that's considered something bad. So these are quite a huge problem. And the pain points are that they have to cut on basic necessities, eat less food basically, reduce savings, reduce the amount of money you can save up until you retire, because the whole point of working is so you can retire, have a good life after retirement for normal people. And they have to reduce on that, reduce on investment because you cannot put more money in investment now. You have to put more money in your groceries now, which would be a very difficult thing to do. And then my fifth point, which is strategies. So I've come up with something that I guess would help for the middle class or lower class families. Well, first of all, something that is unavoidable is to identify the things that you can cut on. Basically, necessities that you can cut on. I know it's going to be very hard, but you have to find these things, because the most important part about turning from poor to rich when you're poor is to willing to make sacrifices and trying to identify which groceries you can sacrifice and alternatives for something cheaper to put in your house to eat could help you benefit your own future by saving more. And if you have more cash on you, you can do more things about yourself. And basically, you can do side hustles to earn more money. It's gonna be hard, but knowledge is power. So you gotta go find the knowledge. And trust me, you can definitely find knowledge, especially in this generation. Knowledge is everywhere. And basically, try to start a side hustle, or maybe find any government programs that can help you out for any lower class or middle class families, determined by how much you earn. Find if there's anything you can save on. These things could help you, and basically earning more money is probably the most best way. I know a lot of lower class family are already working more than 2 jobs, and that is really hard, and they're really trying to earn more money. So basically me saying side hustles is basically a very hurtful word for them. But when I say side hustles, maybe try to find something with a higher income. It's very irritating for people who are actually working more than 2 jobs to hear this, but there are things out there that can earn more than the jobs that you are currently doing. So you have to find it. So in conclusion, I think the Fed will not cut rates in May or June, probably even July, because it will continue to strain the household's budget spending on a regular basis. And it's very painful for them, and definitely the government is not hoping for that. And second of all, inflation doesn't seem to look like it will improve in the next month, and we'll have to see by the next report, or maybe when the Fed does an action. But as far as I can see, I don't think inflation would be improving in any positive way in the next month. But as for the job report, it seems to be very strong by numbers. Perhaps it is just one individual out of 303,000 jobs that are actually working 3 jobs at the same time, if you know what I mean. Maybe it's just stronger numbers, but actually one person is doing a lot, but they're actually earning a very little. But based on numbers, the labor market is still very strong, and it would seem that way probably until the next month or the next 2 months or so, and we have to see more data. And disclaimer, this is just my prediction, and this is not any financial advice or anything. I hope you guys don't take it against me, because this is my research and this is my opinion. So I hope you enjoy my video. I hope you like and subscribe. Comment down below your thoughts too, because I really want to know what you guys think. I really do appreciate you guys commenting, liking, and subscribing. And I hope to see you guys in the next one. Bye.